Welcome back everybody. Today we're going over the Spikes Tactical M4 LE Carbine. Now this one here has a lot of sort of mil-spec properties and some things that are a little bit beyond mil-spec, if you will. We'll get into those later on in the review. But we've had this one in for a long time, I think going on a year now. This one came from Primary Arms. They have really good prices on these. If you guys haven't seen that, I've shared it multiple times over on my Facebook page as well. But that's where we picked it up. It's a good basic carbine that can do a lot of things and do a lot of things pretty well. So what we did was eventually we shot it a lot in its original configuration, but like anybody out there who shoots a lot of ARs, eventually you want to accessorize it because ARs are Barbie dolls for men. So we threw some Magpul furniture on there, a light, an optic, but even in its most basic configuration, it works really well. So what we're going to do is a little bit more shooting with it. Then we're going to do the accuracy test and see how this non-free floated barrel can do in terms of accuracy. Come back in, take a look at the details of it, what makes this rifle, in my opinion, a very good rifle. Some of the specs behind it, because at the end of the day, specs are what count in ARs. And at the end, we'll let you know what we think of it. But that's what's coming up next, guys. You often hear people say that you need a free-floated AR to get good accuracy out of it. And generally speaking, to get the best accuracy out of it, I do 100% agree with that. But these rifles, even with the standard handguards, can still shoot pretty well if they're made well. So what we're going to do here is put a few different loads through it. Right now in the rifle, we have Freedom Munitions 55 grain remanufactured, just, you know, targets, practice stuff, nothing too fancy. Vortex Crossfire 2, again, nothing too fancy on there. This one here's set at 10, so plenty of magnification for 100 yards. And we're using the CTK Precision rest. People always ask about that. So that's what we got in terms of the setup. So we'll see what we can do with it and then change out the load and see how those group. So without further ado. Not too bad for what it is. Next up, we're going to run some Gorilla ammunition, which is this stuff right here. It is the 69 grain Sierra Match King OTM load. It's been a very consistent, accurate load in a lot of different guns, so we'll see how it does. Looks pretty solid. One thing I'll tell you guys is it's hot out here today. You can probably see me sweating. It's well over 100 degrees. Never mind laying in a clay field. So looking on this optic, there is some serious mirage coming off the ground. So next load up is going to be the Freedom Munitions. This is the 77 grain hollow point bolt tail load, new manufacturer that they make. We'll see how that does. Looks like another solid group. Let's check them out. I'm not complaining about any of these groups, again, especially with a non-free floated rifle. So first up, the 55 grain Freedom stuff. Right at 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches right on the dot. Then we came up here for the Gorilla ammunition. We're right at 1.25 inches with that load. And then the 77 grain Freedom here. right at about 3/4 of an inch, a little bit tighter on that one. Now you can see here this target has 1 inch grid square, so real easy to estimate. But definitely, I'll take those groups all day. Starting out on the end of the barrel, we do have a A2 flash hider. This one though, from Spikes, has a melanite finish, which is going to aid in corrosion resistance out there in the elements, but otherwise is going to perform just like any other A2. The barrel on this particular model is the carbine length gas system with the M4 government profile. It is made from 4150 Mil-Spec CMB steel, so very good stuff. It is chrome lined. It's 1 in 7 twist, has a 16-inch overall length for NFA compliance. And a lot of QC goes into these. The chambers are all individually checked for headspace, once before the chrome goes in and then once after. They have the 1/2 by 28 standard pitch up there, so you guys have seen we've ran suppressors on it throughout the video. Works just fine. Very good concentricity as well. The front sight base here is an F marked front sight base, which I know is important to a lot of folks out there. For whatever reason, we have a whole video on that though if you're interested in that. But it is F marked as per the Mil-Spec, and the handguards it actually comes with are the traditional M4 style, but there's actually a little bit different stuff going on there. When you actually look inside there, you'll note they do have double heat shields in there. So your standard heat shields are the ones that you see here on the outside. Then you have these additional ones that Spikes puts in there, and nitrides. So that's again for durability, corrosion resistance, and just additional heat dissipation while firing. So I found they worked really well. The majority of time we fired this rifle actually had these handguards on there. So they've worked great and have had no issues there. Of course, we, as you can probably tell here, sort of upgraded because we wanted to accessorize the rifle a little bit. Added the Magpul MOE handguard, and these have the M-lock cutouts. We put the M-lock grip on there, vertical grip, and also a Arson Machine light mount. This one's M-lock compatible with the LZO light to keep it nice and lightweight, yet add that low light capability. The upper receiver here is made from 7075 T6 aluminum. It is anodized, as you can see there. It has the M4 feed ramp cuts, both in the barrel extension as well as in the upper receiver itself. It's T-marked, as you can see there, and it has that little Spikes spider logo on there on the back. Incidentally, it does come with the Magpul sights, so you don't have to buy sights for it like you do with some other rifles. So it comes with those. They work just fine. We added the Scalarworks mount here with the Aimpoint H1. That doesn't come with it, but as you can see, it works just fine. Again, keeping it a nice lightweight profile with the rifle. Like the upper receiver, the lower is made from 7075 T6 aluminum. It is anodized properly, very evenly throughout. One thing you'll note is it is a low shelf lower, has your standard AR size trigger pin. And one note that we should point out is that it does come with this actual billet mag release there. I added the enlarged trigger guard. It typically comes with a flat one. I like that for sort of just comfort. I tend to drag my finger on the straight one, and after a lot of rounds it can be annoying, but the one it comes with does work just fine for most folks. Other things it comes with the standard A2 style grip, which we have here. We took that off in favor for the Magpul SL line. I find it just a little more comfortable for me. It's totally personal preference out there. Depends who you are and what you prefer there. The receiver extension is a 6-position adjustable extension at 7075 T6 aluminum, which a lot of rifles in this price range aren't going to have. A lot of them are going to kind of cheap out with a 61. This one has the correct Mil-Spec 7075 for strength. Additionally, we have a T2 buffer in there, which is similar in weight to an H2 buffer. What that's going to do for folks who are unfamiliar is it's going to slow down the action a little bit, which is kind of important when you have a carbine length rifle gas system. It slows it down and definitely makes it a little bit softer shooting. So I definitely like that as well. The castle nut there, as you can see, is properly staked down, and it comes with a Mil-Spec, just sort of M4 style stock. This one, of course, has the Spikes logo on it, but we replaced it with the MOE SL stock. It works really well, a little bit more comfortable, and again, just upgrade that really isn't necessary per se, but one that I prefer. We're going to be keeping it on there, and it works well. Before moving on to the bolt carrier group, I should point out that the receiver extension has that grayish finish. That's because it has the Dryfilm lubricant both on the inside and outside. The upper receiver has a Dryfilm lubricant per the Mil-Spec as well. Anyway, moving on to the bolt carrier group, as we set that aside. The bolt carrier itself is a full auto profile bolt, has the Spikes logo here engraved on the side. It is properly staked, as you can see here. All the details, again, like we mentioned earlier, if you're looking for all the specific specs, if you will, are all on Spike's website. Definitely check it out. It has a chrome lined inside portion here where the bolt's going to ride of your carrier. The gas key itself is also chrome lined. bolt itself is made from 158 Carpenter steel. You can see it has the Spikes Tactical, HPT, and MPI. All the bolts are individually tested. I should point out that the barrels as well are high pressure and magnetic particle inspected as well. So definitely good quality bolt there for sure. I've referenced the Spikes Tactical bolt carrier groups for years as very good ones throughout the industry and ones that you should compare others to. So these ones certainly are one of the industry standards. As you can see here on the extractor, we have the black insert and the O-ring, which aid in positive extracting, and of course our firing pins chrome lined per the Mil-Spec. Whenever I'm talking about any type of firearm, particularly one that I know a lot of folks watching are going to be considering for home defense or serious self-defense type use, I always want to talk about reliability. We're happy to report this one here has been 100% reliable with any ammo we put through it. The majority of it, of course, has been the Freedom munition stuff, but we also fired Hornady Tap 223 75 grain, Wolf 55 grain, Wolf 62 grain as well. It's ate them all up, suppressed, unsuppressed, didn't matter. It chews them up and keeps going. So very happy to report that. You can see we've had quite a few rounds through it, as you've seen the wear on the bolt carrier group throughout the video, and zero issues at all. So very good there. One thing I want to point out is this rifle generally is going to come in, at least as of today when I'm filming this video, in the $8-ish, $100 range. We'll put a link over to Primary Arms website so you guys can check it out. But when you recommend a M4 type rifle in that price range, one thing folks are always going to say is, why not just get a Colt 6920? Colt 6920s are great rifles. I recommend them all the time. That said, this one here has some advantages over it, in my opinion. First, foremost, the small things like, you know, your billet mag release, your gas tube that's melanited for additional corrosion resistance as well as heat resistance, your handguards being double heat shield. Those type of things are the minor things, but something that's very good and not so good on Colts, but very good on this, I should say, is the fit and finish. The fit and finish on this rifle, when I got it in anyway, obviously not what you've seen now because I've been beating it up, was flawless. Not a single imperfection, no abnormalities in the anodizing, all that stuff, just perfect. Additionally, this one has the T2 buffer, which the Colt M4 doesn't have. So it's going to shoot a little bit softer in terms of recoil impulse out of the factory. Yes, you could just drop one in an M4, I get that. But I definitely recommend both rifles for sure. I think a lot of people are gravitated towards the Colt because of their, you know, the history. But really, if I had to pick one or the other, and, you know, price wasn't a concern, or, you know, I never had to resell it or anything like that, I just had to pick it, honestly, I'd pick the Spikes, especially with the rifles that are currently coming out of Colt. You guys can look around the internet and see there's definitely been some QC issues over the last couple of years. But again, I still recommend Colts for sure, but I recommend this one right along with it, especially if the price is comparable. I think that's about it. If you guys have any questions about the rifle or any of the accessories we put on there, by all means, you can ask below in the comment section why we have it set up this way. But I think this setup gives it a nice, handy, lightweight feel and gives it some additional capabilities like we talked about with the optic and the low light capabilities. But that's about it, guys. If you have any questions, like I said, post below in the comment section. You can also post over at my Facebook page as always. If I can't answer those questions immediately, you can also ask the folks over at Spikes Tactical. We'll put their website below as well. I'm sure they know all the details about it. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. I truly appreciate it, and hope to see you in the next video.